Welcome, welcome. We're going to take one more look at pattern 312, Giorgio's top, just before the month ends, because I just told you I love this pattern and I want to show you this little version that I did. And there's lots of options, so it's great. It's easy to make it yours, and that's the goal, is to make our sewing ours, exactly what we want. So let me tell you the parts. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is lace is just so popular, we're going to make this little lace overlay. The fabric I'm using, this lace, so pretty. This is a Rebecca Taylor. You really can cut it, and most laces like this. You can cut it. It doesn't fray, even if it's not a knit. This is not a knit. This is a woven. It doesn't fray. You can just cut it and place it anywhere you want. And so I didn't finish my edges at all. But to make the little ruffle, you're going to do a couple things. And I'm going to actually do it right here while you watch, and then you can see how it's done. So the first thing you want to do is decide how far you want it to come. And I wanted it to come a little below the bust, not to the bust line, because it, accentuates the bust line. So I wanted it a little lower. The original that I saw was actually all the way down, lower. It was all the way down to the waist. And I think that's cute. I just decided I wanted mine a little bit lower. Higher, sorry. So mine is 15 inches from the shoulder. So I know on my pattern where it will come, but I don't even need that. All I need to know is it's going to go up and back 15 inches to the front, 15 inches to the back. And so this piece is going to be 30 inches long. And my paper is about 30 inches long. So I'm going to make a mark there. And mine is 7 inches wide at the widest point. That's what I decided to do. So we're going to make this 7 inches. So 7 times 30 is my original plan that I'm starting with. Very easy to do. And then if you'll notice, the whole entire ruffle is not the same width. I'm going to take this piece of paper. Oops. Remember, your Kai scissors can cut anything, because every cut dulls them the same. So it's not like paper dulls them more than fabric or anything else like that. Okay, so I'm going to fold this in half, because that is going to be the top of my ruffle. And then because I want it to taper, I'm going to move that aside for a little bit, because I want it to taper to nothing down here. I'm going to take my curve, and I'm just literally going to put it on there. My numbers here are 16.5 to 0. Obviously, those are just numbers I'm picking, but you do want it to have a nice flow of the French curve. I would recommend you not drawing a straight line. A straight line is just not going to look right. Kind of look a little funny. Okay, so that's what my ruffle is going to look like. You know how long it's going to be, except it's not going to ruffle right now. Remember, I'm going to cut 2 of these. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure this outside edge of my ruffle. Doesn't have to be an exact measurement, but my measurement is about 32 inches. So I'm going to take 32 and do that 1 to 1.5. Most ruffles in ready-to-wear and women's ready-to-wear, and I know I've said this before, are 1 to 1.5. So half of 32 is 16. So that's 48. So this is the edge I want to ruffle. I'm just going to start making lots of little cuts. And this is basic pattern making. Lots of little cuts. I cut them to the line that's in the seam, because that's the line that I want to stay the same. And it's the outside line that I want to get longer, so that it will create a ruffle. And I'm going to keep going, keep going. You could do this on a fold. I'm just going to do the whole thing. And then when I lay it on my lace fabric, I cut 2. 1 for each side, obviously. There's so many options when you guys are doing this. You can make it longer. You can make it wider. On mine, I decided to have a sleeve down here. You could make it so wide that you cut that sleeve much higher, so that it, looks more like a little bit of sleeveless. Lots of great ways to do this. All right, so then I'm going to put this on my paper, and I'm spreading this outside edge. Make sure you can see that. Spreading, spreading, spreading. And if you spread each of these, you know, just kind of a little bit, you'll notice that you get there. All right, so I just spread, 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 spread all the way around. If your ruffle is really long and you want more spread, then what you're going to have to do is sometimes they piece the actual ruffle, which you can do. It's very easy to do. Just when you piece it, pay attention to where you're piecing it. You want to piece like at the shoulder seam. All right, so by the time I measure this now, I'm measuring, and again, just, I've got my 48 inches, just like that. So now I'm going to just tape those open. The reason for all of these cuts is so that when you're creating this outside edge that you're creating, you'll know a place to follow. So now when I go to cut this out, and if you notice that each little one, I'm kind of cutting off that tip to keep a smooth line. You can use your French curve to draw a straight line, but you want that line to be nice and straight. Obviously, you know, pin it down as much as you need to. All right, but that's going to make my ruffle. All right, then I cut away the inside line as well. And so this top has a lot of great spring potential. And when you're sewing, you want to think about all those fun things of spring that I can incorporate into the garment I'm making. So now when I pick this up and these lines, this line becomes straight, this outside edge is the one that's going to ruffle. You could do 1 to 2 if you really wanted more ruffle, but again, 1 to 1.5 is pretty much standard in ready to wear, for women's ready to wear. All right, so now comes a little play on stripes. The fabric I used is a viscose knit. It's on our site, and it has stretch in both directions. So in order to do a top like what I did, stripes are really popular for spring. You want to use fabric that has stretch in both directions, because obviously this part I put with the stripe going across and the sides I put going down. So it was just really a fun play to do. I didn't have to sew it anything else other than the directions. Just when I sewed the front to back together, I did that. But then when I sewed the front to the side pieces, sew the side pieces together, you just want to insert this ruffle right into that seam. And I just actually basted them in and then serged them in so that I didn't have to worry about, was it in the right place? Pay attention to make sure they're both at the same stopping point here, starting and stopping point. And so when you have stripes across, if they're not even, you can kind of see that. But just a really fun project. Great lace. Remember, lace is everywhere for spring. It's really fun to play with. Stripes as well. And then, of course, the colors. The pinks, the oranges, the greens. All these great colors are straight in. So, you know what? Here's another idea using your pattern of the month, their 312 Giorgio's top. It's to make your sewing fun and easy. And I can do that. Happy sewing from Silhouette Patterns.